I think that the issue is that the pendulum has swung so far to one direction. It's so insufferable. You cannot function in a society like this. Like, take it to this current event of Sydney Sweeney right now in the American Eagle jean situation. Do you see the outcry of this whole situation?
This is insane.
I've noticed that a lot of people have decided to basically give up social media. It has like 100x their happiness in their life. I think these morning routines, to be honest with you, have gotten way out of control. Some of these people's morning routines they go into the early evening between all the saunas and the cold plunging and then the gratitude journals and then the looking up in the light and then walking on their hands for 4.5 minutes. I mean, whatever it is.
Is there like a favorite type of movement exercise that you like?
Do you know what I think the best exercise is?
Jennifer Cohen, this is the second time on the podcast. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. I know I feel very honored to be back here, even though I'm sick a little.
Oh man, well, hey, I won't hold it against you, but you're fighting it. Your body's resilient. You are going to rebound so quickly.
I hope
so.
Listen, I think that the irony is like I'm on a doctor's podcast as I'm sick as a dog. But
consider this your doctor's appointment in front of millions of people.
Exactly. It's my telemedicine appointment for free. Thank you.
Normally it's private, but hey, look, you have to get what you can get. But right. Okay, so last time we recorded was I think in the middle of the pandemic or somewhere around that. So it was like virtual. Now you're in studio. And I'm so excited to have you. I have so many things I want to pick your brain about, but I want to first talk about something that I hear you discuss on social media so eloquently that I haven't had the chance until now to dig deep in this topic of resilience. And I think this culture of being offended and triggered and like everything's offensive, right? You look at the Instagram comment section or the TikTok comment section, you could make a post about almost anything and you're going to get people that are going to be contrarian keyboard warriors. So that's not good for their mental health. It's not good for our mental health, whoever's making the content. It is maddening. But like, what's going on in our culture today? Why is everybody so offended?
Well, I think by the way, you can like even take it back, like take it to this current event of Sydney Sweeney right now in the American Eagle jean situation. Do you see the outcry of this whole situation?
This is insane. I mean, look, but what's your take on that?
I think it's absurd. I think it's absolutely absurd. And I think that people need to take a chill pill. I think that the issue is that the pendulum has swung so far to one direction that it's so insufferable. You cannot function in a society like this. Now, I do believe it is kind of like finding it's slowly but surely coming back to a middle ground. But I think this idea of this, everyone's offended, everyone's triggered, this coddle, I call it like a coddle culture society, is so detrimental, especially for kids, right? And for people to grow up to being strong, resilient, mentally strong. Like I find it to be, it's actually going to be so detrimental for children. I don't know if you've even seen the stats of like how now, was it like 26% of kids are now taking or wanting to take their parent to a job interview because they don't feel okay doing that on their own. This is what that whole woke society culture has now created in our youth. And it's unbelievably sad, and we need to kind of rectify it and fix it. Like, we could talk about the Sydney Sweeney thing if you'd like as well.
Yeah, I'd like to go there. So obviously, it's been in the news. What was, for people that don't know, what was the ad? Yeah, a bit in the news, right? It's kind of everywhere. And then the president even like tweeted about True Social about, so it's getting heads of state involved in American Eagle jeans ad.
This is like just like a hot young 20-something-year-old girl who has like a sick body in a good way, where the people who don't have the attributes, let's say, that she has are, I think, quite frankly, like jealous and unhappy about it. There is no way and no rhyme or reason why this should make headline news. That some nice-looking, blonde, blue-eyed girl who's doing an ad for American Eagle for jeans, and she says, "My jeans are blue," it's created more of an uproar than like the Middle East war and then some. It is beyond. It's beyond. And what I don't understand is that how anybody who can see this as being something of controversy or something of this is what I'm talking about. That's where the left or the whatever you want to call the woke. It's just another example of nonsense that's happening, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then the ad, which I saw the ads, there were different versions of the American Eagle jeans ad. And it seemed to be, correct me if I'm wrong, based off of like a 1980s Calvin Klein or Levi's or some sort of vintage-esque. And they did a sort of modern spin on it. And I heard the pundits like before both sides, as all topics, I want to see what both sides saying, and I can make my own decision. And I like diversity of thought. These are classically liberal ideas and tolerance and understanding people. And I listened to both sides, and the one side just doesn't make sense. When you look at this, it was a very clear, clever homage to an old ad and talking about just the fact that she has good genes. There's a play on words that she was a beautiful woman, and it was also her genes that made her beautiful, but also the fact that these genes that everybody can look good in, and it was selling the genes. Pretty clear, but then it was extrapolated to eugenics and fascism and the Holocaust. I mean, as a Jewish woman, I mean, were you, it doesn't seem like you were offended about this eugenics ad.
Offended? Are you kidding me? It didn't even occur to me to be offended. You know, we've come so far from a place where, you know, do you remember when people used to be models, they were attractive people. And then we had to, and listen, I'm all like you, I'm a big proponent of diversity, and I'm and showing every race and every culture and promoting it. But there also has to be some kind of realism here, right? Since when should models not be attractive? Because guess what? Unfortunately, that's what actually sells. You can put if you don't put someone who's attractive in an ad, yes, you may be doing the you may be PC, but you're not going to be selling your product. By the way, do you know that American Eagle, their stock has skyrocketed ever since this whole controversy? So even like they think people think that if they are making a stand or doing all of these things, it's actually to the detriment of themselves, because all you're doing is actually creating more money, more opportunity, more exposure for the brand. That's what's happened. By the way, most people didn't even know what a lot of people didn't even know what American Eagle was. You know, like it's a young brand. It's a young, like a tween, teen, young brand. Now every single person who anybody. Like if you're not living under a rock, you know what American Eagle is, and then you're curious about it, and then you're buying their product, and then it ripple effects. That's the first thing. Yeah. The second thing is, I think, what's wrong with having a hot model selling a product? We've gotten so far away from that. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. And as a Jewish girl, to kind of answer your question, there's no correlation between the Holocaust or anything of the such with this ad. It's such a reach, it's such a stretch, and it's just creating problems where there shouldn't be problems. And also having a realistic expectation of what actually sells product, what actually sells clothes. And we don't need to have some, and I don't know if this is not very politically correct, but I don't think having someone who's unattractive in an ad is the way to kind of sell something, because it psychologically, we're drawn to things that are attractive, unfortunately. Yeah,
100%. I think that I'm so glad we're talking about this. And for people that are maybe new to the podcast, maybe this is their first episode, we cover so many different things on the art of being well. We talk about physical health, mental, emotional health, spiritual health, talk about from biohacking to mind-body practices to societal wellness. And I'm fascinated about the opportunity to talk with people like you, where we can kind of talk about societal wellness, because it's like that hermetic adage of as above, so below, as within, so without. What's happening on a societal level currently is such a symptom of what's happening on the micro level, this sort of culture of being perpetually offended. And then there's this anonymity of the online comment section of saying things you would never say to somebody's face, but you have this sort of bravado that you have behind a keyboard to say vicious things about everything and everyone, right?
I know. I think that we've come in. We're in a culture where we think it's okay just to be an asshole and to be mean. And why, if you don't like something, why can't you just keep your mouth shut and keep it moving? That's another issue, right? I think that there's been this with social media. We all think we have the right and the entitlement just to be mean, right? I don't understand where that's come from, and that's why I think that social media has done a real disservice to our society, and really in what I like to focus on is the younger generation. I think it's been very, very detrimental, even from the comparison standpoint. Because you're constantly comparing yourself, you're spending so much time looking and spending on social media where you're actually now not even able to learn how to cope offline. So your social skills have been diminished, your ability to kind of relate and communicate have been diminished. I think really that's where I like to spend my time thinking about how it affects my children. All these other these bigger things, like you said, they're on a macro level, but it's actually really affecting it on a micro level in families, in our kids, in the younger generation, who, by the way, is going to be running our world in 10 years, 15 years. And if we don't get a handle on it, we're going to all be in big trouble.
Yeah, 100%. And look, for people, and I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast when we talk about different things within health policy and how it impacts people, the health of a nation or a group of people from the top down, like the MAHA movement and food policy and things like this, right? And this phenomenon that's happening where I almost feel like we need a better definition of what's happening right now. You mentioned the woke movement. And even saying left or liberal, I feel like liberalism is the opposite of what's happening right now. True liberalism of what the United States was founded on, and even just traditional liberal people, whether it be historical Democrats or libertarian-minded people, it is the opposite of what is being espoused by the quote-unquote left today, because they are anti-free speech, they're anti-diversity of thought, they're anti-tolerant. They're some of the most hateful, intolerant people I've ever seen on social media when I talk about food policy or whatever, right? There's sort of groupthink, Orwellian doublespeak that happens with people. That do you see that as well? I mean, because I don't consider myself a right-wing person, and the difference is, and I'm sorry, I don't let you talk, but progressivism is not liberal. Progressivism is a form of neo-Marxist, which is illiberal, anti-liberal, and I feel like the modern conservative, quote unquote, in Canada and the United States, around many Western nations, what are they conserving? They're largely conserving liberal ideas, freedom, diversity, independence. That's kind of my soapbox about what's happening today.
No, I think it's a great soapbox to have. Listen, I'm not an expert by any stretch, right? I'm not a pundit and a political pundit. I just what I would like to say is that I'm just observing from what I see, and why it bothers me is because I have children as well, like you do, and I also just think it does have a ripple effect in business and in all these other things as well. I agree that I'm not even I'm not this hard, staunch Republican, by the way, either. I want to be very clear. I just think there has to be some kind of there has to be a middle ground. There are such extremes on both sides that that's where I find anything when there's an extreme perspective and point of view, I think it could be very, very detrimental. And I think what I do believe, though, with that being said, and I don't know what the word is, woke, liberal, whatever you want to call it, left, I don't know the proper terminology for it. I do think it's damaged where we've been and where we've gone in a really in a bad way, and it becomes it's kind of it penetrates in so many different areas of life, personal, professional, and when everyone, when people are getting canceled because they have a different opinion, when you can't even speak your truth or just like have an opinion, and you get like you can get slaughtered on social media for having a difference of opinion. I think that's a really bad place to be, and that's why I think we really have to have more tolerance on both sides.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You look at throughout our lifetime in the 80s, 90s, it typically was historically was conservatives that would be canceling people. Like, remember the Dixie Chicks when they said whatever about the Iraq War? Like, the conservatives were like crushing their cities, and so many, Janet Jackson in the Super Bowl. I'm thinking of how many celebrities had gone through that. It was the conservatives that were calling for the boycotting and canceling. The Christian right oftentimes were part of that. It is not the case anymore. It is a complete realignment. Yeah. Now it's all the sort of woke, quote unquote woke, but I don't even like that term. There's nothing awake or conscious or progressive about what's happening on that side. It is asleep and regressive.
I agree. I have a question for you, and I don't know if you want to talk about it. I'm just curious because you and I never really spoke about this. So where are you with the Maha and all this stuff? Are you involved? Are you participating? Because you're obviously you're very involved in food and health and all the stuff that you do. Where are you?
Yeah. I love it because it's just two friends talking and catching up in front of all these people because and the fact you're a podcast host whenever the tables are turned so effortlessly. No, I love it. Let's talk about it. People want to know. I'm involved. I'm involved with it on a independent level. I'm like you've known me for a long time. What I've always talked about is people, and what my day job is not the podcast, it's running a telehealth clinic and seeing lives improve, and seeing when you apply food as medicine, clinical nutrition, different biohack therapies, emerging therapies, things like peptides and mind-body practices. I have seen these sort of out-of-the-box stuff and progressive even things within nutrition, applying these therapies, improving people's lives. But my job has always been grassroots, individual telehealth people. Never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined that we would have a top-down group of people, which I've known a lot of these people before they were involved in the HHS. Like, I've known Bobby Kennedy for years in speaking at different events over the years. Dr. Casey Means is a good friend of mine. Dr. Marty Macri. Like, I've known these guys within the industry, both on just professional colleague standpoint or friend standpoint in the case of Dr. Means, where it's like, all right, these are people that are in my space finally having a seat at the table, wanting to at least do what they could to make some change. And this was never about politics. Like, health is a human issue. This is a bipartisan problem. So, but you know what? Because it's people's their brains have broke with this sort of derangement syndrome that's happening because it's sort of tangentially connected to an administration and a president that they don't like. Even if they're doing good things, they will be the opposite of what they would otherwise be for, because they're that deeply toxically tribal that there's such a cognitive dissonance that they'll just be against. If Trump was for curing cancer and cured cancer, they would find a way to poke holes in it and be contrarian about it. So that's kind of my take on it.
No, I think that's why I wanted to ask you, because I find it very interesting that now health has become politicized. It doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense either to me, right? Like, the fact that people who are trying to do good or try to help, even if it doesn't make that much of a difference on the grand scheme of things, that they become villains because they're trying to push something. Like the fact that they're trying to get seed oils or food dyes. Yes, does it make a difference does it make a massive difference if you're not doing anything else right? I probably not. But the fact that they're trying to do good is now become a political villain. You're like a horrible person. You're a villain. This is part of the problem. This is what I'm saying. Like, now people are being hated, and it's like, because a lot of these people are being like, are being shadow banned because they're trying to push a message that can actually just get people healthier who otherwise can't afford to go see a wonderful functional medicine doctor or get these particular tests or do all these things that can help better them, right? Like these little micro things that can actually like just like uptick your health a little bit should be, you know, it should be applauded. And it's not, because you don't like the president.
Right. And I, when the Biden administration, when they did the red dye 3 at the last minute, or they improved regulations around microplastics and forever chemicals, I was the first one championing them. Or when Bernie Sanders talks about the chronic disease epidemic, I'm right there with him. When Cory Booker talks about the chronic disease epidemic, I'm right there with them. It is equal opportunity. Whoever's willing to talk about these topics, we're all for. The reality is just one side just all of a sudden started raging for the machine and fighting for big food and fighting for big pharma instead of the American people. So of course I'm not going to be for that, and I'm going to put people above partisanship every time. So that's kind of, it's a sorry state of affairs. And look, I think you can hold both truths, that these are complex issues. Typically it's both and, not either or. But when you look at the average food, the standard, like the ultra processed food industry, and who does that disproportionately affect? It disproportionately affects poor people and people of color, people that have been disenfranchised. So when we're talking about improving food quality or getting artificial food dyes out, or not subsidizing through SNAP sodas and foods that feed chronic disease, that's not helping us. That's helping people that, like you said, don't have access to functional medicine. And then they could sit there on their high horse from the peanut gallery and say, well, I wouldn't do it that way. I would do this instead. But those people, 99% of the time, aren't doing anything to make positive change.
Well, this is the thing. Okay, so to go back to like what you said originally when you were asking me these questions about people, like what's happening and all these things, I find it like the people who are writing all these nasty comments, who are speaking the loudest, they do nothing else. They're not trying to change anything or make anything better. They're just negative people who probably have nothing going on in their lives except sitting there on their computer, tapping, trolling people and just making bad, just causing trouble, quite frankly, trouble. And so this is another one of these things, right? I think the issue is exactly what you just said. This is helping people who don't have, like we both said, who don't have access, who aren't in the top 1% or 5% of the population, who any little piece makes a big difference.
Yeah. Well, and then we say, like, and rightfully so, there's a massive gap. Access to healthy foods needs to be more accessible and affordable. Nobody's going to disagree with that. But then you have people that are actually wanting to improve it, and we have to start somewhere. Then you have so much pushback. And this is the truth. It's like, if people only knew what the guys and girls within HHS are going through right now, the amount of pushback, the amount of special interest, believe me, they want to do 10 times more than what they're able to do. But there's just that much pushback between the system. So instead of cheering on people that are renegades that aren't even Republicans, whether these people are in healthcare, they're independents, or actually historically Democrats that are working within a Republican administration that are trying to do some good, and they are being eaten alive by these contrarians. And when you even look at the bigger picture, is like how many millions of Americans have mental health problems. The algorithms on social media really take advantage of those people, and they're being like, the algorithm rewards rage and offense, and I think that's part of the problem. That's
so true. I find like the more polarizing you are, the nastier you are, and the more negative you are, that's what the algorithm praises. And I think it's also the same with any type of, like, anything that's kind of true, actually, I was going to say that, like, actually, it's like in the fitness business, right? Like, people don't want to hear what actually works, right? Like, move more, eat less. That gets zero coverage and zero views because it's kind of like blah, like wah wah. But if you say something, completely outlandish, right, and it will get a ton of traction, and then it kind of just spirals into this whole thing, like. The truth is, like, the basics of life, where the truth lies is probably in somewhere that's kind of boring, not that exciting,
in the middle,
but no one cares. So
it's not sexy.
It's not sexy in anything. Like, it's basic. Like I wrote this book many years ago. My first book, it was called No Gym Required. Okay. And it was basic. And by the way, that book is, in my opinion, it's still exactly what works today, right? Like, again, you don't need a gym. You can use your own body weight. You could do push-ups, and you could do squats, and you could just eat from the perimeter of a grocery store. It's like the things that actually really do move the needle. I'm not talking about peptides and stem cells and magic pills. I'm like, listen, do this, and this. Still works today, by the way. And people don't give a shit. No one cared about that book. No one wanted that book. It was not exciting because the other book that came out the same week as mine, this was like literally 15 years ago, was some Yahoo who was talking about eating for a window of 2 hours and then jumping up and down and then doing this and then like ricocheting over here. And it was so wacky that book became a New York Times bestseller while my book was plummeted. Why I'm even bringing this up is that people have this common sense is not common. People don't want to know what actually everybody. We all have a lot more control of what the outcome is in life than we actually want to believe. We think if we give some other person the ability to tell us what wacky thing to do, that we're going to act. That there'll be a panacea of diamonds and gold at the end of the tunnel. No, we all have agency to look better, act better, feel better, be mentally healthier, but we don't want to do the things that actually work. We rather sit and complain or keep on scrolling or keep on asking or keep on spending money and all these ancillary things versus doing the actual work that we all can do. Nobody wants to do the hard work. Nobody wants to do the hard work.
Yeah, you're right. Or at least it's not the majority of people, right? They're looking for the quick fix. They're looking for the dopamine hit. They're looking for the next flashy, shiny thing to buy or inject or do something with.
You can't imagine. I have this friend of mine, okay, and I hate to. I'm just going to say she's obese, and I've told her for 15 years already. All you need to do is walk for 30 minutes a day. And maybe just track what you eat and just maybe don't or just eat clean. She refuses to do it. She's hired every guru, she's traveled everywhere around the world. She's taken every peptide, every GLP-1, which is I guess a peptide too. She does the cold plunges and the saunas and the wellness spas, and nothing has moved the needle because she does not want to do the actual thing that works, which is not eating badly, 80% of the time, and exercising. Which, by the way, if you don't do those two things, if you don't exercise and you don't watch what you eat, you can do everything else, and nothing will change what your actual goal is. If you're looking for weight loss, fat loss, etc.
Yeah, so true. I want to get your take on this, or I guess just a commentary on something that happened to me recently. I had Nikki Reed on the podcast, a friend of mine, and she is an actress. She's done amazing things within the wellness world and sustainable jewelry world. And the things that go viral, you never can predict it. But there was a reel from that episode on The Art of Being Well about sustainability and how she said how she just resold her shoes, and she had this same pair of shoes for 15 years. I mean, the reel went. There's at the time of recording over 3 million views between TikTok and Instagram, but the comments are wild. People are so negative. People need to get off their phones, get out inside in nature, and remember how to be compassionate, kind people because they have too much time on their hands.
What did she say?
They're just saying, she just say the fact that she reuses her shoes and has the same pair of jeans for X amount of years. People are like, yeah, but she's wealthy, and oh my gosh, it's so disgusting to hear wealthy, famous people talk about sustainability. This gives Meghan Markle vibes. I mean, people are cruel.
Oh my God. Over
and
that.
Unusual.
So that's a real, to me, it wouldn't even occur to me that that would like drum up any type of...
No, that's what I mean. You can talk about resoling your dang shoes and you're going to get hate for it. I mean,
that's absurd to me. So doesn't that just tell you where we are in the world?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Another thing, and one more hot take on this. I posted about here are X free things you can do for your health, and talking about like turning your Wi-Fi off at night, gratitude practice, getting out in nature, like really all these free things, because you can get flack on social media when you talk about different biohacks that can cost money, or functional medicine, which can cost money, or labs can cost money, supplements can cost money, healthy food can cost money. Okay, I hear you. So let me post about free things.
Yeah.
The same people that complain that it costs money will also complain that how dare you talk about free things because time is free, and don't you know that it's privilege to talk about free things because poor people don't have time. I mean, you cannot win with these people.
You can, but this is why, you can't you cannot put any energy into this nonsense. You can't. By the way, I would just shut my comments off at that point. Because there's,
I just take it honestly, because it's like I realize that trying to rationalize or explain yourself to someone who's
you cannot and you can't rationalize crazy. See, how to me, like it wouldn't even occur to me that you're going to be you would be getting such hate because you tell people to do grounding, like walk on with your bare feet on grass or have some sunlight. Like, the fact that would even be something that people would even cause an issue with is this is why I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I really do. Because I think social media can be very informative. You can meet a lot of great people and friends and be exposed to things and people that you would otherwise never have had access and ability for. Mm-hmm. But with that also comes horrible negative side effects like this, right? Like, to me, like it's the fact that this is even something that is even happening, and it's also the amount of time and effort it takes to even that it takes from you, and this type of like mental negativity is so detrimental. You have to shut those comments off.
Yeah. I almost at this point mostly find it humorous, as in the sense of it's like such a commentary. So the sting of it all, because I don't take it personally because it's like so ridiculous. It's just it's like, wow, you cannot. They prove there's no deficiency in victim mindset out there. And it's like the saying where if you want to cling that hard to your excuses, you can keep them. Yeah. And we have a whole subset of people that their why is a lot smaller than their excuses. And those are the people that are complaining in the comment section on social media, which I always find interesting. They're commenting on social media from their $1,000+ phone with the free time that they have. They want to use their apparently very tight free time to waste their time to complain on social media.
Exactly.
I never understood that.
Exactly.
That's privilege. That's privilege.
It is privilege. And I just think that like that is exactly the truth. Like the time that you're spending complaining, why don't you actually do the thing? Like look up, do the grounding, do the gratitude.
The time breath work. Believe me, you could save that 5 minutes and do breath work, and you'd be a better person.
100%. Or I think those people should do the gratitude journal. What they're grateful for.
But I will send them the gratitude journal in the mail for them to do, because I really want the world to be a better place. You honestly, in all truth, like we joke about it, but it's like they can be very happy people. I really can.
But I think that's what we've seen, right? Like, I think that because now the world is so much bigger to us with all the social media, that like, I think that's why mental health has become such a big thing, because now we're exposed to all the people out there who are not well, right? They talk about the art of being well. They're not well, No.
And it's like, I posted this, that it's like, normally it's after a day of seeing telehealth patients and looking at labs and then looking at social media. It's like we weren't meant as a human race to know what millions and millions of people are doing 24/7. It is like evolutionarily not normal, but yet we're so plugged in and attached and knowing every other person's business that's curated and filtered. And again, that keyboard warrior anonymity, it is a recipe for mental health disaster.
Oh my God. Do you know, I've had a lot of, I don't know if it's just like because maybe recently I've noticed that a lot of people have decided to basically give up social media. They're just not on it anymore. And I will tell you something. It has like 100x their happiness in their life. And I'm talking I'm talking like adults, like our age, right? Because there's something about it. It doesn't just happen with kids. It happens with everybody. Like it is programmed and designed to cause like frenetic, frantic anxiety in us, where now like we are unable to sit still. Even when we're like in an elevator, we have to like look at our phones, or when we're unable just to be bored, just to be bored for a couple minutes, that boredom is so important. And we've now eliminated this from our lives to such a place because we cannot sit with ourselves. And these are some people I know, like they've actually they shut off their phone. They even did like some type of like reset. They're like, okay, I'm going to reset for 3 days. And they never went back because the piece that they eventually, it was, they like, like when you're a drug addict, like, you have that, like you're nuts, but then you kind of calm down. The same thing. Like they actually, they were frantic and the anxiety, but then they found a place where they had so much peace and never went back. And I got to tell you, those people are so much happier.
Yeah, man. Would you ever do that?
So like I've been toying with this idea because I'm a victim of this myself. Like I when I say that, it's like I'm not a victim. I'm victimizing myself because I'm torturing myself because I can doom scroll like anybody else. Like I would, even though I say to myself, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I can look and it's like 45 minutes later and I'm no better for it. And because it is programmed and designed to take over your brain. That's what happens.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Oh my gosh, so true. It is like it's intentional, right? We are being intentionally sucked in many ways. You talked about boredom, which I'd love to go there because this is so tied into it, right? It's so tied into our weak boredom muscle because we're so used to the dopamine hit. We're so used to being distracted and numbed and sort of the compulsive, obsessive, like you said, frenetic
energy
like pool to look at our phone and scroll and like doom scroll. So what are some tips that we can, like you said, maybe we're not full ascetic, completely unplugged. We still have to be on social media or want to be on social media, but better boundaries of social media and resting in the boredom. I'd love to explore that because it's so important for our nervous system.
I did a whole like TED talk on this idea for kids actually, because I think that because I think boredom is where creativity lies. I think that's where we get our best ideas, we get our best thoughts. And that's what we did when we were kids. Like when we didn't have, we didn't have phones, right? Like we had to kind of entertain ourselves, right? So what I think that boredom is something we all need because that's where all these other things lie. What we need to do is, I think we need to schedule a time in our day when we can be bored. Which means just how you brush your teeth and you take a shower and you go to the gym, schedule 10 minutes without your phone where you just sit there. I'm not saying you have to meditate because I'm not a meditating person. I'm not a meditator. I'm just saying just sit there and just like let your mind wander for 5 or 10 minutes a day. Because to me, in my experiences, that's when all these things I would otherwise never think of because I'm so distracted. We just want to be distracted all the time. And that phone distracts us all the time. And we can create busyness when we don't need to be because being busy and being productive are so different. And
so true.
And people don't sometimes have the time to be bored to recognize that. So we just are constantly busy, not really moving the needle in any good way at all.
Not productive.
Busy and productive, completely different. So if you take 5 minutes of your day or 10 minutes of your day and force yourself to sit there and just like do nothing, I bet you would get 5 really good ideas of things that you would never otherwise have known because you didn't allow yourself to think about it. Just even do that experiment. Do it like, say, you know what, for the next 5 days, I'm going to let myself be bored for 5 minutes and see what happens. I think it's like a really, really smart thing for people to really open and expand their minds in a way they would never otherwise know.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. And then you can lean into it from there, right? Start off small so you can feel like a sense of accomplishment, right? And sort of a pride in a way of like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
And you go lean into it from there. I see the same thing with people that telehealth patients mainly, where I'm like, okay, for the next 30 days, let's go off of alcohol. And they seem, I cannot do that. How am I going to socialize? How am I going to unwind?
Right.
And then they feel so dang good. They want to keep doing the thing that loves them back. It's very similar to what you're saying with technology and like, just finding healthier boundaries with these things.
I also think that if you really look at people, like people make their to-do list, you can also look at your to-do list and see what is actually on that to-do list that's really the most important thing, and then eliminate all these other things. Because I think the productivity, what we actually spend our time on versus what's really the important things, probably are very different, right? And I think that once we start like recognizing that or writing it down to see, and then asking yourself in an honest way, like, is that really important? Is that really productive? You'd be really shocked at what is actually on that list that makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times we get really uncomfortable with stillness or very uncomfortable with not having something to do. It makes it, I think it plays on our purpose in life. Like, oh, if I'm not busy 24 hours a day, then something must be wrong with me. We like it's like a badge of honor to be busy these days, right? God forbid you have nothing to do for like an hour. Oh my God, you should be, stoned. Like,
what do you do with your life?
I know, like what kind of a loser are you? You know what I mean? But I mean, like, that's why I personally, I have that stillness. That's why I think exercise also is very important. I think with exercise, I think it's the number one, the number one cornerstone, keystone habit in life, because it also forces and it just turns your brain on to be more productive just by virtue of the fact that your brain now is much more like on point. But I get a lot of great ideas when I'm exercising because it's time for myself to like be in my own brain thinking, not on social media and not like doing something that's good for you, but also like within you. So you get great ideas and you think about things in a way that you otherwise wouldn't.
Yeah, I went a few months without social media and actually got an analog phone and didn't have my smartphone, and it was really good. And I think when you come back into it and say, okay, I'm still going to use the blessings of modernity, the blessings of technology, but in a more balanced way, it's like I think it's good to do cyclical digital detoxes because it sort of realigns what's important in life, and it doesn't have the hold on you and the grasp on you that are otherwise is designed to do. Some people probably need to do it on a daily basis, like better boundaries with it. My wife has her screen time, and only I know the password to it. So if she wants an extra 15 minutes, we're not like being zealot Puritans about it. Like if she wants extra 15 minutes, we can do it. But there's accountability to it, which is such an important part of so many spaces of life. Working out is accountability and having somebody else hold you accountable to what you're trying to do. I
love that. So when did you do the analog phone, and how long did you do it for?
A few years ago and 90 days. 90 days. I actually wrote an article about it. I don't know if it's still up, but it was on Mind Body Green. It's been a while, but and I still will do similar things with my phone and like uninstall apps. So there's so many ways you can do it to have better boundaries. My son Solomon, he's 19 now, and we were one of those weird parents, again, talking about what we're talking about, is like we prolonged the smartphone as long as like humanly possible. He was the only kid without a smartphone, and he got one, I think 16, 17 years old. It's only been a few years he's had it. So he has had a lot of his life, only the past couple of years where he's had it. Because of that, he came to me. He lives in another state at college right now. And he's like, Dad, can I get this thing called a light phone? It's an analog phone. He just wants to listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks, have a GPS, and be able to call and text. I'm like, okay, sweet. And I love brands like that, light phone, and there's other devices out there that basically are like de-escalating, taking phones back to the early 2000s.
Well, first of all, I love that you did that. I did the same thing. My kids, I have a 10 and 12-year-old, and my 12-year-old, I did the same thing. I gave him one of those phones that have no social media, no internet, all that, while all his other friends have a phone. And oh my God, did I get slack for? Oh my God, I mean, he was just I was the worst mom alive, and And I'm going to try to push that as long as possible. The research is all there, everyone. Like if you see what it does to when you see what it does to a kid's brain, it is unbelievable what it does. And like I said, I can't stress this enough. The inability for a child, not only in terms of the anxiety and the effect it has on the mental health, but the inability to communicate and socialize in real life, it goes down. It's like the diminishing returns is brutal. That I just can't, in good conscience, just be like, here, it's an easier thing just to throw a phone, right? But
yeah, it's so much easier. I mean, I get it. I like, as a parent,
trust me, I get it. I'm a working mom.
Yeah,
I get it.
So right, it's so easy to let technology parent your kids. I get it. The logic is there, but it comes with such big consequences when we lean too heavily on it.
It's really, it is. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I think I'm going to try that. I'm going to try a detox for my phone. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and try that.
That's right. Yeah. Let me report back to us. Report back. I want to know how it goes. Any other tips you can have to rest in boredom, improve resilience? I think there's so many people craving this. They know intuitively, man, modernity has made me weak. And I want to live in this world, but not be ruled by it in the same way, and kind of find a sane middle. Any other tips to get there?
Yeah, I think I was kind of alluding to this earlier about just exercising every morning, daily. I think these morning routines, to be honest with you, have gotten way out of control. Some of these people's morning routines they go into the early evening, between all the saunas and the cold plunging, and then the gratitude journals, and then the looking up in the light, and then walking on their hands for 4.5 minutes. I mean, whatever it is, a lot of these things are they're great, and they're great supplements. However, I think if you're going to take on one habit to really kind of align you and really kind of to really kind of help you, I think exercise, especially as you age. I think what it does on a cognitive level, if you are depressed, it's the best antidepressant on the market without the side effects. That's the first thing. It helps you with your productivity. It helps you with your focus. It makes you smarter. Do you know after one workout, it starts changing your brain and your the way your neuroplasticity in your brain, the neuroplasticity changes just even after one exercise session. So I'm a big proponent of. If you're going to do one habit every morning, part of your routine is move your body for 30 minutes minimum. That's what you should be doing. And everything else is just a nice, addition. Go ahead.
If you had to have, if someone was like 30 minutes, move your body, is with the level of experience that you have and try and experimented with all types of movement medicine, is there like a favorite type of movement exercise that you like?
Do you know what I think the best exercise is? Walking.
What?
I think walking is the best exercise. There are people out there who says walking is not really an exercise. They can go, they can suck it. I'm telling you, it is the best exercise, bar none, because first of all, again, for your mental health, it is the best thing. It's also for your mood enhancing. It's great because it also, if you're somebody who doesn't have the ability and doesn't know what to do, everybody can walk, right? You don't need fancy equipment. And by the way, this is going to be one of these things that people are like, I don't care, click, move on, keep on scrolling because it's too easy. But I will tell you something. the best results I've ever seen for anybody that I've ever worked with, dealt with, from the mental and the physical, is because they just started to walk. And if they can do that, and what I would also suggest is don't just walk one time and then like be done. It is way more effective to walk 3 times a day for 10 minutes or 15 minutes than to walk one time and then sit the rest of the day. Not only because it's better for you for like the physical part, I'm actually talking about it for the mental and for everything else in your body. So like the cognitive, the physical, the mental, the psychological, to do that a few times a day. I think it's really important. The other thing I would say, and I think that ad nauseum, do heavy weights. I know that people don't like to do that. A lot of women, I get pushback because I think they're going to get bulky, all the things. I promise you, you're not going to get bulky. I will say that it is really, really important for people who are in middle age to really embrace doing heavy weights. And I'm not talking like being a bodybuilder, but I'm saying, again, get some weights and challenge yourself a little bit, because that is something that I think is really important as well. Don't just think, oh, I can't do it. And the other thing is, do the best exercise is the one exercise you're actually going to do, right? And because the barrier to entry of walking is so easy, in the sense that you can just walk outside the door, that's why I really also think it's a really good thing to suggest to people.
So good. This is golden. So boredom, block off boredom.
Block off boredom. Schedule a time to be bored.
Schedule boredom, and then lean in, progress from there. Exercise, move 30 minutes a day, whether it be like minimum. A zone 2 exercise, like walking, minimum, right? Walking 30 minutes a day. Like, are we talking brisk walking, like zone 2? Doesn't matter. Just move your body.
Let's not confuse people with zone 2, 3, VO2 max. I mean, let's just get people off the couch.
Keep it simple,
right? And start moving their bodies. Like this is what I'm saying. We don't have to. We can say, we can say, oh, do zone 2. A big thing right now is this whole incline 12. Doing on a treadmill, the incline 12.
I love 12 and a half for me.
Oh, I go 15, Will. No, I was kidding. The 12 incline, the 30-minute time, and the 3 speed, right? That's like the big thing right now.
Oh, it is? I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
Break it down for me.
Oh, my God.
No.
This is what's very, very trendy right now, this whole 12, 3, 30 thing. And, honest to God, if you like it, God bless you. Go with God. Keep going. If you want to do an incline of 6 with a 4 speed, go for it. It doesn't really matter, right? Like, it doesn't really matter. It's about the fact that you're like getting into the habitual. It's a habit. To me, what I think is really important is what I've done to trick myself, because I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but I actually hate just cardio at this point because I've done it for so long, but it's become so ingrained into who I am, and like it's become like so habitual. I don't know. If I don't do it, it's weird. I think it's really important for people to pick a time in the day where they're doing it all the time. Like they know every 9 o'clock in the morning, 8 or between 8 and 9 or between 10 and 12. They have a window of time that they know that they are supposed to be moving, because then you are starting to build a habit, which then psychologically you will much more be likely to stay and stick with it over time, versus when it's random. When something is random, it usually doesn't like stay or sustain, right? So if you want to have longevity over time, you have to build it into your daily routine. So I'm really big on like habit stacking and routine, like really like routines, like having, I know I'm going to be doing this, then I'm going to be doing this, which is also great for ADD, right? If you have ADHD, you need to have things that are structured and scheduled, that are positive, good habits for you, because then it will train your brain to do good things for you, which then has that ripple effect. That one thing that you do that's good, you've accomplished that one thing, you tick that box, it will lead you to the next thing that's good and positive, and so on.
So good. This is great stuff. I've been doing a 12 and a half, I say 12 and a half incline because that's as high as my treadmill will go. So if I had like an upgrade 15 like yours, I would go do that. But I do maximum 12 and a half. And I do rucking, like a weighted vest, 35-pound weighted vest, and I hike the crap out of that hill, that proverbial treadmill hill.
Yeah.
And you get such a good like sweat on. I love it. I don't do it for super long, but I do it after my weight training. So I'm prescribing to the Jennifer Cohen rules for a healthy, happier life.
I love that. I'm going to add one more thing to that. Two more things. First of all, what I would suggest to people that most people don't do, which actually is really good for your brain and for your body, is to walk backwards for intervals of like a minute. It's great for your balance and coordination too, especially as you age. See, I'm very focused these days on aging well, right? And it's not just about, it's about like it kind of keeping your brain like on point, right? With like brain health as well. So I want to be as efficient and as effective as possible. So I also feel like if you're constantly walking, if you're walking all the time, right? We're forward walking. We're becoming very dominant in certain muscle groups, right? And then what happens is we're then becoming less dominant and weaker in like opposing muscle groups, right? So I like to, if for every 10 or 15 minutes I'm walking, I try to walk backwards for a minute or two because it forces me to like think and concentrate and like use my core and my balance and my stability because it's like uncomfortable. It is a game changer. And I think that if people can just like tweak and incorporate that 1 minute for every 10 minutes forward, they go 1 minute backwards. It's a great thing to kind of add to their routine. And they should try it. And the other thing I was going to say, not to kind of like keep on going here with my soapbox.
Just keep going. People want the to-dos and they want practical tips, and you're giving us great ones.
Yeah, so that's the walking backwards. It's a really easy practical tip that people can incorporate into their exercise routine. The other one is weighted vests. There's pros and cons to it. So I was a big proponent to a weighted vest. I was wearing it for a very long time. What I noticed was I was getting some foot issues with it. I was getting a little bit of like plantar fasciitis with it because of the weight dragging my shoulders down. And I was kind of getting a little bit like, like, yes, does it add that resistance that I love? Yes, it does. But instead, what I started to do was going back old school, which was then and is now, is walking with like 5-pound weights in my hand because of the balance situation, right? So that I'm not putting so much stress on my joints and my feet, because I found like depending on the weighted vest you have, it can really kind of just like it like compresses. So if someone is listening to this and they are using a weighted vest and they've noticed their feet hurting a little bit, they may think or they may now think about if it's because it's from the weighted vest. And with that being said, a lot of people, it may not affect them at all, and they can keep on going. And like I said, they can go with God and keep on doing what they're doing. But think about it. If your feet are hurting you a little bit, or if you're not, if you feel a little bit like if it's not like working for you, try using just basic, hand weights, dumbbells to get the same effect.
So good. Yeah, I could see that happening. I don't do it for long enough to, like, I'm talking 15, 20 minutes of rucking at a maximum incline after weight training. So I could see doing it longer. Even for me, I could see it impacting my shoulders longer term, where it's like, too much of a good thing maybe.
Right.
To like kind of pace yourself based on biomechanical, like feet or shoulder issues, certainly.
Or gait.
Gait, yeah, right. And something you mentioned earlier that I want to sleep on, that just rounding out this building resilience, being an unoffendable, regulated human being again, is the gratitude journaling, which I see be such a game changer for telehealth patients. So great stuff, my friend. Before you go, the podcast is called The Art of Being Well. At the end, we do Your Art of Being Well. What's the most disgusting healthy food that you eat that you do not do it for the taste, obviously, but you do it because of some health benefit that you notice?
Oh, that's a good question, Will. I would say sardines.
Good answer. That's a good answer.
Do you eat sardines?
Yeah. Yes, I do. And I would say, yeah, I don't do it for the taste.
Oh, I don't do it for the taste, but it's so good for you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Small fish, lower heavy metals, rich with those fats. Yeah, protein.
What are some of the, I know you want to go, but I'm just curious. What are some of the answers that you've gotten that are so wacky and weird?
Oh man, I mean, look, we've talked to so many people within wellness. There's been some weird ones, but typically, like, common ones would be like different types of algae, wheatgrass shots, spirulina, organ meat's another common one.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other ones. Those are some. Apple cider vinegar is one that people say a lot, but no, sardines, I don't think people have ever said. So,
oh
great.
Really? The wheatgrass,
sardines, anchovies.
I think the one thing, and then I'm going to let you go. Wheatgrass, just to let you know, if you have allergies like I do, I think that people should stay away from wheatgrass, because I didn't even correlate the two, but I took a wheatgrass shot like a few times and I noticed my allergies went through the roof because it's
interesting.
Grass.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, right. If you have a grass allergy, may think twice. Second question is, do you take supplements? And if so, what are the maybe 2 lesser known supplements that people should know about?
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. I use creatine, and I use Momentous brand because it's the cleanest. Do you know about Momentous?
No. Tell me about it.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, creatine is really important for your brain and for your performance and for your,
I love creatine.
all the things.
I have it every day.
You do?
5 grams every day. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I take 5 grams every day. And now there's been like studies saying that you should be taking 10 grams for really to like kind of like
brain
for your brain health. They're saying 10 grams is how much creatine you should take. But I love Momentous for that because of they are NSF certified, and I'm very particular about the brands I use. And everybody should be very particular with the brands they use, because a lot of these people are just, using shitty things in the products. I take True Niagen, which is NAD, which is the precursor for NAD. It's NR. I take that. I also take omega-3s. I take NAC. Have you heard of NAC?
Yeah, N-acetylcysteine. Yeah, precursor to glutathione. Do you pure NAC, just like a plain,
pure
nothing
NAC.
else?
Pure, and I take that every day. And what I actually do, I shouldn't say I take it every day. What I do is I cycle everything. I don't take everything every day because my body will acclimate, and so will yours. So what I try to do is cycle everything. So I take something for 3 weeks on, 1 week off, even sometimes longer, because then your body doesn't have the same efficacy with the stuff. Then like a
little supplement siesta for a week. I like that.
Do you do the same?
Yeah, I do that. I sort of intuitively. Mine's not like regimented in that way. 3 weeks. I like that. And I have telehealth patients do that sometimes too. It's kind of take it easy, streamline, give the body a break, because it is, there's a time and place for everything, and sometimes having these sort of intentional breaks is a good thing.
I also wanted to ask you. I'm going to try next week this fast mimicking diet called Prolong, which is supposed to be really good for your brain. It's like longevity. Have you heard of it? And have you ever tried it?
Yeah, I have. I've done it a few times. My telehealth team and I have done it. We experiment with pretty much everything. Anything that we would tell a telehealth patient to do, we've basically tried it all. And it is. Vulture Longo is a great, very smart person, researcher, kind of came looking at how could you get the benefits of fasting without actually fasting. You still nourishing your body 5 days, once a month. It is a great tool. I've taught for them before as well, the benefits of fasting. I mention his research in my book, in Intuitive Fasting too.
Oh, you have?
So it's he's in one of the chapters. I forget which one, but yeah, it's been a few years. But yeah, I love the research, and I think it's a great tool for people.
Yeah, so I'm going to try that because I'm a big eater. I love food. So this is something that I would never normally have. It's to me, I like to eat. Like, I love food. So this is going to be quite I'm excited to try because I've heard really good things.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so let me think of other supplements that I do take. I take a couple other ones. Do you want to hear? I take this new one out of Israel. It's like a resveratrol. It's like something for like a resveratrol, but I don't know the name. That doesn't really help you much. And so sorry about that
An
one.
Israeli resveratrol. No, we tell me later, and I can put it in the show notes for people.
Fine.
Can be?
I don't remember.
Yeah, what is it?
That's basically okay. That's good enough for now. I can come back and tell you next time.
Part 2 will just be your
supplements.
list.
No, that's all. I'm not a big. I don't take that many supplements though. I just take the ones and then maybe like a couple other ones randomly.
Love it. Where do people go to learn more about your work? How about their podcast, the book? Where do they go?
Okay, well, they can listen to Habits and Hustle, which is another podcast about the habits and hustle of very successful people. There's a lot of like wellness, health things, of course, at the core. They could follow me on Instagram at The Real Jen Cohen. They can subscribe to my newsletter. Listen, people know where to find people. I think that's a good beginning. And then they can always just DM you and ask you.
You know where to find me.
Yes.
You know where to find me, people. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Jennifer, thanks. Great catching up with you. Can't wait to hang out again soon.
I can't wait to see you in person next time. Thank you for having me.